often.
Good morning. Welcome to the nature service. Yes? Yes. Yes, welcome. I'm going to sing a little ditty, then we'll get started.
The sun is fast falling beneath trees of stone. The light in the tower, no longer my home. Past eyes of hellfire, black sand, my bed. I trade all I've known for the unknown ahead. Call to me, land far away. Or rise up to guide me this wandering day. Please promise to find me this wandering day. Of drink I have little, and food I have less. My legs tell me no, but the path demands a yes. My legs are so short and the way is so long. I've no comfort but song. Oh, sing to me, land far away. Oh, rise up to guide me this wandering day. Please promise to find me this wandering. Fast comes an answer that not all who wander are lost. No matter the sorrow, no matter the cost, that not all who wander or wander are lost.
Thank you, Shayna. That was lovely. Good morning, everyone. I am Tracy Blender, and I am proud to be your worship associate for today. This beautiful day, yet another beautiful day, we gather here to worship, to open our hearts, to be seen, to be heard, to see and hear each other. Here we can be simple, elegant, frilled, unfilled, frilled, shy, dramatic. We complement each other. We comprise our collective treasure. Each and every one of us contribute to the beauty of this place. And we come together today to worship together, all genders, sexualities, politics, clappers, non-clappers. I'd say progressive or conservative, but we know that's not true. May we root ourselves in the values of this faith: compassion, courage, transcendence, justice, transformation. That is what we find here. Newcomers, we welcome you and your children, who are most welcome to join in the moment for all ages in the service, and follow the rest of the children out for religious education. Younger kiddos can attend childcare, which begins before the service. If this is the first time we've seen you, lunch is on us. If this isn't the first time we've seen you, lunch is a steal at $5 a plate. And now we have, I'd say, a few announcements, but that is just not true. There's a whole lot of announcements today, but I will make them as pleasant as possible. Steve Schlegel, who is the reason why, I'm finding one that ended up on my phone, so I'm not just... Steve Schlegel is the reason why we have these beautiful orchids of all different colors. A man of many, many, many talents. He has brought orchid stems today to sell as a fundraiser for the church. Choose your favorite, as their blooming season is almost over. As well, Alex has brought greens for sale, and as we're celebrating the earth, what perfect timing for all that. In addition, did you know that our own Robin Earhart has published a book called Eco Geek? If you want to read it this month to support the earth, what we're doing at the church and Robin, you can borrow a copy from the church or buy a copy for $8. As well, the 35th anniversary of the Green Sanctuary renewal with the UUA president, Sophia Betancourt, is on Wednesday, April 16th at 4 p.m. So that's a Zoom. I'm saying it now so you can mark your calendars for April 16th if you want to attend that. Did you know, I bet you do, that PUC prepares food for communities' child services for homeless women and children every Monday? We regularly need supplies, so we'd like to begin collecting gift cards in any amount to purchase supplies. If you would like to donate, please bring gift cards to the PUC office. Somebody must be getting out their phone to put that event in the calendar. As well, every year it gets better and better. PUC's annual retreat to Camp de Benneville Pines is June 6th through June 8th, 2025. Camp starts in the afternoon of Friday, June 6th, through lunch, June 8th. Outdoor and indoor activities for all ages include hiking, archery, s'mores, arts and crafts, dialogue sessions, and more. I always attend the wine tasting. The weekend includes sleeping arrangements in cabins, home-style cooked meals, all kinds of activities. The online registration form will be available in the newsletter. All first-time campers will receive a $50 discount per person. You can contact Andy or Janet Kisner, whose contact information will be in the newsletter as well. See you on the mountaintop. And with that, I'm going to find the one more that came in a little late. I want to encourage anybody who has an announcement they would like, if they would please email the worship committee at pacificunitarian.org. We will have a chance to get your announcements in early and figure out who gets bumped if there's too many. The Pacific Trio will be playing at 3 o'clock today here, and the concert is free. Oh, I'm sorry, that's all I got. Okay, well, somebody want to come give that a better plug than I just did? The Chamber Music Society, today, 3 o'clock for a free concert. Piano trio. That part I got, right? Perfect. See what happens when I don't get it emailed early? Okay. And now we are going to light our chalice. We light it this morning, grateful for the love that we experience in this beloved community. May the flame light the way for all those who seek such abundance.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Pastor Joshua, for those who don't know me. I'm so glad to see everyone here on this beautiful morning. It's such nice weather, and we can, to enjoy nature today. Today is the first Sunday of what we have as Earth Month, where we're celebrating nature and the earth, and there's some posters out there for all kinds of events that are going on. But in honor of Earth Month, as you see in the program, I wanted to do, and in honor of what I'm talking about today, which is communicating with nature, I wanted to do a different type of call to worship or opening words, where actually my office plant communicated the opening words to you, because we communicate with nature. Unfortunately, I didn't realize how shy she was. So, what's that? No, I told him you're shy. Don't worry about it. So I'm actually going to do the words, the opening word. What's that? They are not staring at your pot. Don't worry about it. I shouldn't have brought her up. Anyway, let us worship together this morning, calling up the sacred and the spiritual in the question, how do we communicate with nature? That's what we'll talk about this morning. But before we go into that, we have a very special announcement from our president, Melissa Garcia.
Oh, sorry. Good morning, everyone. Today, I wanted to take a moment to commemorate that this is the 10-year anniversary of our relationship with Sylvia Lawrence. And
Yes.
Right before PSP came to Pacific we opened Pacific Sage Preschool. You try that. We had lost our previous renters. We had a preschool here before, and there was just this, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? A lot of discussions, and it was, I'm blanking on his name. Godfried, who was a big proponent of this, and we found Sylvia. I have no idea how that happened. I wasn't involved with that. But we have our lovely Sylvia who has joined us and has grown this beautiful preschool, and it's been so popular and very important part of the community here in Palos Verdes. So Sylvia, we wanted to honor you with a small gift. We appreciate you. We appreciate how you are with all the children and how you represent PUC and the community as well. And Sylvia is also responsible, for those who don't know, for most of the treats that we have on Sunday mornings.
The school is.
Thank you, Sylvia. Can I say anything? Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, I know, when I was thinking about it, 10 years, and it was April Fool's. That's my anniversary here, April Fool's Day. And Godfrey, how the connection came together, it was, really 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, because Godfrey, or you knew Godfrey, he made things happen and he knew people. So he worked as the mayor of Rolling Hills, and one of the city managers there I worked with when I worked at the city of Carson with their early childhood program. He said, I need somebody who knows something about this, because he was very determined that this was going to happen. So this particular person, he says, find me somebody. And when I worked with him, I hadn't worked with him probably in 5 years or so, but he called somebody he knew, who called somebody they knew, who called somebody who still was in contact with me. And the next thing I know, he says, could you go up the hill and then just talk to these people, because they're interested in opening an early childhood program. And I went, are they? Okay. So it was a nice sunny afternoon, actually, my wedding anniversary. And I came up here and been to service. And that particular service, they had huge puppets. And I went, okay, these guys are cool. It was a long time ago. There were huge puppets. And so what I did for them was run off a copy of licensing regulations, because it's a big-ass book, sorry. Because I wanted to scare them, because you shouldn't go into this very lightly, because people are going to depend on you. And he wasn't afraid. He was like a child. A child and old people are not afraid of anything. So we went forward, and I've been through, I think, Joshua, you are the 6th ministers, temporary and permanent, many RE directors, and, by far, Haven, you're my fave. And in that time, PUC has gone through a lot of changes, but right now, you are the most snap, crackle, and pop I have seen you in a really long time. So I'm so happy to be here. Everything that the school represents is at your core of beliefs. That's why we're such a great symbiotic relationship. And people love the school. They love coming up here. And it's an amazing place. And, we just don't want it to be, too amazing, because then people will flood us and we'll be like Disney World or something. I don't know. So as I evolve, people keep saying, well, when are you going to retire? And honestly, when I signed up for retirement benefits, I thought, I could see myself here till I'm 80. So that's pretty much it. I got another 10 years at least. So, woohoo! So thank you all very much. Thank you for allowing me. Thank you for trusting me, because it was a labor of trust. You people had no idea what I was doing, and just took it that I would give you something of quality and value, and I have, but you allow me to continue, and the relationship is just growing. So, cheers to the next 10 years.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. It's amazing to come to work every day and interact with the preschool. You're amazing. Thank you. Well, let's get started with the worship part of worship. Please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth.
For
And for our moment of all ages today, we actually have the author of Eco Freak that Tracy talked about earlier, Robin Earhart. Yay! Here you go.
Hi. Good morning.
Morning.
I'm so excited to talk to you today because 12 years ago I finished writing this book, and it took me a really long time, but then I finally published it. And you can see the title of the book is Eco Freak. So what does ECO stand for? Ecology, ecosystems, yeah. So that's the study of the environment, ecology. And then how about freak? What's that mean?
Someone with a lot of energy.
Okay, yeah, it's not very nice to call somebody a freak, right? But it also means like freak out, like get really upset. And so this book that I wrote is about a girl named Liz who really, really cares about the environment. And she cares so much about the environment that people at her school are mean to her and call her an eco freak. And sometimes when we're a little bit different, we close ourselves off from other people, and all we notice is how different we are. And that's exactly what happens to Liz. And she assumes that because the other people at her school are not as excited about the environment or as worried about it as she is, that she can't be friends with them, or that they're not interested in helping her. So there's a few lessons that Liz learns in this book. And one is that people are willing to help her, and maybe these other people who she thinks don't care about the environment actually do care. And maybe with a little bit of a reminder, they can care more. And she also learns that working together with others is how we can get things done, because we all have different skills and personalities and ideas. So I don't want to tell you exactly what happens in my book. I hope that maybe you'll read it someday. But let's just say that the story involves her doing things like trying to change her community. Like, see, there's a picture of a power plant on the front. And she tries to stop a power plant from being built in her town. And she tries to change the way her school runs. Like the way they use plastic, do recycling, and the plantings that they have in front of her school. So we're a part of a community here at PUC. What are some of the things that we have, that we do here at PUC that help the environment? Solar panels, yeah, up on the roof.
We raise bees.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
We have bees.
The bees.
Yeah.
Yeah. Composting and recycling. And after we're done eating, we scrape our plates into the compost bin, into a bucket that we dump into the compost bin. Yeah, so there's a lot of things. And then like the Social Justice Committee, Barbara from the Social Justice Committee collects plastic tops, and they make them into benches. And then also selling laundry sheets to cut down on plastic that carries laundry detergent. So those are some of the things that we do in our community here at PUC. And I'm sure that you also talk about some of the things that you do at home. But I wanted to share that with you, and maybe you'll write a book someday about something that you care a whole lot about. And just remember, we're surrounded by helpers, and that if we all work together, we can make the world better. Thanks.
Yay. Thank you, Robin. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may
And now's the time of our service where we share what's on our hearts, either by coming to light a candle or taking the microphone to let us know what's going on, a joy.
as we come back into the space. Isn't it awesome just looking at it, just picking a focal point recenters me, and just considering how small we are in the grand scheme of things really helps me focus. I hope it does you as well. And as we come back in, I'm going to share with us a reading from this book called The Sacred Depths of Nature by Ursula Goodenough. Ursula Goodenough was one of the main proponents or founders, or whatever you want to say, of a theological orientation called religious naturalism. And Ursula Goodenough, actually, when I graduated seminary, she received an honorary doctorate at the same time. So I'm going to read from her book, The Sacred Depths of Nature, that talks about her theology of religious naturalism. She says, "Does not some theology flow from the fact that the universe was so right and our planet was so right that life became inevitable? A line of reasoning called the anthropic principle states that since the laws of physics are perfect for the emergence of chemistry, and chemistry is perfect for the emergence of life, that it all must have been designed so as to yield life in general and human life in particular. Had any of the laws of physics been anything other than what they are, the universe would have been very different, and perhaps not possible at all. And life, as we know it, would not have evolved. True enough, but of course, all these things could just as well have happened by chance, since had they occurred any other way, we wouldn't be sitting here wondering about them. The inherent circularity of anthropic principle arguments leaves me, in the end, theologically unsatisfied. And so I once again revert to my covenant with mystery and respond to the emergence of life not with a search for its design or purpose, but instead with outrageous celebration that it occurred at all. I take the concept of miracle and use it not as a manifestation of divine intervention, but as the astonishing property of emergence. Life does generate something more from nothing, but over and over again, and each emergence, even though fully explainable by chemistry, is nonetheless miraculous. The celebration of supernatural miracles has been central to the traditional religions throughout the millennia. But the religious naturalist is provisioned with tales of natural emergence that are, to my mind, far more magical than traditional miracles. Emergence is inherent in everything that is alive, allowing our yearning for supernatural miracles to be subsumed by our joy in the countless miracles that surround us. With that, our centering hymn, number 15, The Lone Wild Bird. So back in 1999, when my wife and I were married, my wife Tisha and I, we bought a beautiful 100-year-old farmhouse in Rockland County, just north of New York City. And as we drove the mere 45 minutes or so from Manhattan to Airmont, which is where this farmhouse was located, as we drove, the landscape morphed from this concrete urban metropolis to some of the most beautiful tree-lined, windy roads, interspersed with vast swaths of natural woodlands. Our two-story farmhouse was the first to be built in the area. And it had a lot of land when it was built, but it still, even when we bought it, possessed 3/4 of an acre of open field bordered by lush vegetation and trees. We would often see deer in our backyard and other critters living under our porch. It was truly beautiful. Yet, for the first few weeks that we lived in that farmhouse, my wife did not sleep in the house. You see, Tisha, that's my wife, she grew up in and around Manhattan. And she was not only accustomed to the noises and the smells of the city, she had zero experience with living outside of the very urban areas, let alone in this a very rural area. So even though the new house was actually in a relatively populated suburb now, with plenty of close neighbors and more modern homes, from her perspective, we might as well have been living in a log cabin in the middle of the woods compared to where she grew up. I, at the time, was still working in Manhattan overnight. So not wanting to be alone in upstate New York in a big, creaky, 100-year-old farmhouse, even decades before Jordan Peele started making movies, my wife actually felt more comfortable driving into Manhattan with me and sleeping all night in our car on 42nd Street. It's absolutely true. You see, the sounds of traffic and the disturbing random shouts that made Manhattan so endearing, those were like lullabies to her. They calmed her to sleep. However, before too long, she reluctantly made her first attempts to stay alone in the farmhouse. And it helped that we had cats. So yes, because when the house creaked, as it did a lot, she could just explain it away. Oh, that's the cats making noise. And it was comforting. And during those first few nights in the farmhouse, though, the most amazing thing happened. She became supremely comfortable. And she decided she never wanted to sleep anywhere else again. Even for this lifelong city dweller, being in nature seemed to come naturally to her. And that is because, as the word naturally suggests, nature is where life belongs, including humans. And there's a term for this, biophilia. According to Psychology Today, humans have always been drawn to and depended on and fascinated by the natural world. Biophilia, which literally translates to love for life, is the idea that this fascination and this communion with nature stem from an innate, a biologically driven need to interact with other forms of life, such as animals and such as plants. The psychologist Erich Fromm coined the term biophilia, and then the Harvard biologist Edward O. Wilson wrote the first book about it, wherein he theorized that the human connection to nature is actually genetic, the result of our evolution. So, although Tisha, my wife, acclimated over years to city living, she also had, as all humans have, a genetic inclination to be even more comfortable in nature. In this first sermon as we embark upon our Earth Month celebration, I'm not going to rehash things we already know about the threat of human-made climate disasters, or I'm not going to list all the things we can do to combat that threat, as Robin did. Instead, I am going to reaffirm our connection to our Earth, and I'm going to supply you all with some solid science to defend that connection to anyone who would deny the vital importance of the natural world to humanity. So why is it that humans are more at home in nature? Well, in the scheme of things, our species has actually spent the greater part of our evolutionary history in natural settings. Modern city living as we have today is roughly the equivalent of a few milliseconds on that timeline. Hundreds of millions of years of evolution influenced by nature produced our reptilian brain, the archaic parts of our brain that control most vital functioning for us, that control our heartbeat, that control our breath. And it produced our limbic system that direct our emotions. So because we evolved with the natural world, which provides us with food and shelter and the means to survive and the means to thrive, it is no wonder that we have such a strong bond to her. Even those of us who spent most, if not much of our own, who spent much of our own short lives, even those of us who haven't spent much of our own short lives immersed in nature. It then follows that if we do spend more time connected to nature, we recall that bond and we can feel it immediately comfortable, like Tisha did. And nature also provides a great respite for the fast-paced and the stressful environment of urban life. In his book, The Biophilia Effect, Clemens G. Arvay talks about the two forms of attention discovered by psychologist William James. The two forms of human attention are directed attention and fascination. We spend most of our time and energy every day on directed attention, focusing on work and school and the countless daily activities that distract us. It's stressful. And see, even when I said directed attention, I automatically cringed my eyebrows and, whatever. Directed attention requires enormous amounts of energy. It brings on exhaustion. It brings on stress. Whereas being in nature triggers the other form of human attention, fascination. A type of attention that developed to familiarize and adapt to nature's stimuli, and it requires no effort. Engaging fascination helps us recover from the overwhelm of directed attention and allows us to recharge and re-engage with the directed attention when we need to. In other words, we get away from the hub of our anxiety-filled lives when we commune with nature. Indeed, psychologists Rachel and Stephen Kaplan talk about communing with nature. They coined the term being away. The fact that being in nature literally separates us from our day-to-day lives is, according to the Kaplans, one of the most important mechanisms through which our nature experiences affect our psyche and give our soul space. We are then in nature free to express ourselves without judgment. Nature doesn't judge us. Free from pressure to fulfill someone else's expectations of us. We feel protected when we're surrounded by large natural formations. We're inspired by nature, by the way nature always finds a way, for example, to survive and to thrive, from seedlings to saplings, even in the harshest conditions. We're inspired, we're protected, we feel safe. The Kaplans believe that fascination has the ability to provide space as well for new ideas and profound insights. I do my best thinking in nature. In all of these ways, and many other ways, this being away in nature has countless psychological benefits. Another fascinating thing about the Biophilia Effect, is the idea of being able to interact with nature. This is what I was talking about with my with my office plant. Plants actually do communicate with each other, we know this, as well as with human beings. To understand this, we have to reframe what we mean by communication. I'm not referring to the exchange of ideas via human language, as I was joking about, or even communication we see between some animals, like when my cat swats at my dog. I'm not talking about those types of communication. Plants obviously have no means to share information in these ways. However, in its most basic form, what is communication? It simply involves the transmission of information between a sender and a receiver. And science has shown that plants can absolutely send out, receive, and decode information. And they do this using an aerosol they emit that is filled with chemicals that have fragrances. When you go out in nature, you smell a lot of these things. The chemicals, mostly belonging to a group of substances called terpenes, are sent out in response, just not randomly. They're actually sent out in a response to a circumstance, and they're sent toward a particular target. So they're sent for a reason and to send a message. What's more, this message can be read by those that receive it. Communication. And there are a very large variety of terpenes with names you may be familiar with, like camphor. There are other linalool, myrcene, B-caryophyllene. Those are not ones I'm familiar with. There are tons of them. And they expel a variety of fragrances like pine, citrus, mint, licorice, all of these things you smell in the forest. And they're actually familiar to anyone who's been in the woods or has used scented lotion. This is lavender. Cleaning products, who has smelled incense, or who's burnt a candle, or who, sprays aromatherapy, or rubbed a scented lotion. They're included in these things because we know the benefits to humans smelling them. But what are plants and animals communicating in general by releasing these chemicals? What are they trying to say? Well, they do it for many reasons. They're communicating many things, including to signal stress, release them when they are stressful, to defend themselves by producing an odor that deters pests, or producing a fragrance that signals pest predators when they're stressed. They do it to attract pollinators. This is a type of communication. And they even do it to regulate temperature and affect the climate. This is their communication. For instance, when conifers are too dry, the terpenes they emit actually change the environment to cause rain. According to the article, Terpenes in Trees by Jack O'Leary, clouds composed of water vapor condense around these aerosols. And researchers have found that ozone located in the upper atmosphere attaches to molecules of some of these terpenes, alpha-pinene, for instance, a terpene released by pine trees. And these highly ozonated molecules stick together to form heavier particles and serve as an aerosol base for clouds to form, to both block sunlight and produce rain. So science says when the tree is too hot, it communicates to the environment to block the sunlight to produce the rain. Don't know if it works every time, but that's what they're trying to do. So the tree knows when it's dry and communicates that to the atmosphere. As far as communicating messages to humans, as we know, a message sent isn't always received as the sender intended. I don't know that humans are translating these messages the way they may be intended. So although we get the messages when we inhale terpenes, we decode them a little differently maybe, but in very positive ways sometimes. Studies and experiments have shown that when we inhale terpenes, when we walk in the woods or we take a walk in nature and we breathe in those terpenes, those chemicals actually soothe our limbic system and they can balance our hormone levels. Specific terpenes can act to various degrees as anti-inflammatories, as antibacterials, as analgesics, as antimicrobials, antioxidants, sedatives, memory aids, sleep aids, as well as anti-mutagenic, anti-epileptic, and anti-ulcerogenic agents. Other terpenes can supposedly, to an extent, arrest cancer growth. Some have known respiratory benefits. They soothe our lungs. They soothe our bronchial tubes. These are the messages we're taking. There are terpenes that reduce heartburn, acid reflux, dissolve gallstones, promote metabolic balance and weight loss, maintain immune function, slow bacteria growth, and most importantly for me, they also provide, as I said, psychological benefits, such as mood boosting. I take a walk when I'm anxious, and reduction of anxiety, reduction of stress. Anyways, studies have shown these things. Many of these studies have been done in Korea and Japan. You can read them. But I want to clarify, and the studies clarify, that terpenes are supplementally medicinal. You need traditional medicine as well, especially for more severe issues like cancer treatment. They're not cure-alls, but just sitting in nature and breathing them in can still be extremely beneficial and medicinal. You can get these benefits. And the Japanese studies specifically have focused on and show the many benefits of something I talked about in another sermon called Shinrin-yoku, which is forest bathing. And for Earth Month, I have listed 3 opportunities to partake in forest bathing, and I encourage you to join, and if you can, and if you cannot, I recommend getting out in nature anyways. But you can see on our Earth Month calendar and in the newsletter the 3 opportunities. 2 are at night at the LA Arboretum, run by the LA Arboretum, and I'll run the 3rd one right here at our South Coast Botanic Gardens on a Saturday. So the biophilia effect is scientific and it's real. And what's more, entering a state of awe and fascination represents a spiritual experience. As I shared in the reading, religious naturalism claims that even though the physical world is all there is, it is also divine in its ability to inspire wonder. The health and wellness benefits of being in nature are incredibly necessary. In just the past week, I've been on quite an emotional roller coaster, as I'm sure you all have. We watched for social justice movie night the movie I Am Greta, and I left pretty despondent that we may not be doing enough to save our planet. But then yesterday, I was super inspired by celebrating the life of Hope Foy, whose activism absolutely brought necessary change, and reading about the over 1,200 hands-off resistance protests. After engaging in all this directed attention, fascination helps us recover and allows us to re-engage again with directed attention as we need. I encourage you to experience, in any way you can, the fascination that comes with being in nature. Tisha and I did it when we bought that house, and we miss our farmhouse terribly. And our daughters are quite angry with us for selling it and moving into a tiny apartment before they were born. They remind us of that all the time. But to close, I'd like to share with you what we felt in that house with some images of the house so you can get a better sense of how it inspired the biophilia effect in us. That's the house before we bought it, and then after we lived in it, there's another picture of it in the winter. That's when we were living in it, but you can see it's winter time. But it was absolutely amazing. And you can tell it was the first farmhouse in the area, so imagine it there with like just acres and acres of nothingness over 100 years ago. But that was it. Thank you. And now, our offertory. Thank you.
Today we are doing a split plate with Better Burma. As you probably have heard, Myanmar is facing a severe humanitarian crisis, with over 18 million in urgent need of assistance and nearly 1 million people displaced due to ongoing conflict and military action. The recent earthquake has further escalated these urgent needs, making donations crucial for providing immediate relief. With your help, Better Burma is able to support the people of Myanmar through humanitarian aid and advocacy efforts.
The song we're going to sing is in Italian, but the words in English are...
Oh, we're going to have them on the screen, too.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
In English?
In English.
Never mind.
Wow. That was truly beautiful. Thank you so much to our wonderful Spirit of Life Choir and Dr. Severin Benin. And now, please join me in our affirmation of gratitude. Here we go. Let us be grateful when we are able to give, for many do not have that privilege. Let us be grateful for all those who share their gifts, for we are enriched by their giving. And let us be grateful even for our needs, so that we may experience the generosity of others. And I want to add, because I wasn't here last Sunday, my own personal gratitude for everyone here for participating in our pledge drive. For those who don't know, we did meet our goal. Yes. And I cannot be more grateful to you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And we beat it by 50 cents. I'm just kidding. And now our closing hymn. Please rise in body or spirit for number 175. We celebrate the web of life. Thank you. Sorry.
This church is dedicated to the proposition that behind all our differences, beneath all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together in spite of time and death and the space between the stars. We pause in silent witness to that unity.
May the blessing of love be upon you. May love's peace abide with you. May love's presence illuminate your hearts, now and forevermore. So be it. Amen. Shalom. Salam. Namaste, and blessed be. And now our service truly begins. Please stay for the post. Go ahead.